All right, hello, welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging.
We're giving promos to random shows here.
We are back to play Call of Cthulhu today. We are continuing our generalized campaign. Steven is actuing me about what a show that Melissa and I watch is about, despite never hearing of the show or watching the show.
I didn't know about it till 2 minutes ago.
Well, actually. So that's fun. But yeah, we're back.
Happy that did not stop you.
You just kept going. Just kept going. But we got some Call of Cthulhu today. It's going to be an interesting sesh. Big change, some big changes are afoot. We're going to have 3 new characters as Will and Marie are going to recruit some friends. And then we're all going to be back together again, and we can finally see the new cosplay that Maitreyi, Ashley, and Long have been cooking up the last few weeks, waiting for Will and Marie.
How funny would it have been if I had another wig on deck? Like,
you just pull right off. Yeah. Patrick, he's just gonna pull off his clip off tie and then bring a bolo tie and just put that there. And he's like, I'm a Southern rancher from Texas. I'm here to help.
I'm just gonna take my hair down and
that would be something.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, some things have changed. We're still split. We're gonna play a little bit split. You know what we need to do? We need to come up with a signal for when to bring back. So I was thinking if I do kind of tug on my ear and I look at my eyes twice and I kind of tap this, and that's
too intensive.
That means you should bunt. Okay. And then if I rub my head and my tummy at the same time, you need to steal second. Does that work? Do you get those references, Long? Your baseball fan?
Are these football terms?
I weirdly do.
America's pastime. It's America's. Well, you live in Toronto. You got the Blue Jays, right? You got the Blue Jays.
Yeah. And the Blue Jays were really popular a couple of years ago. So I learned 4 things about baseball. One of which is that we have a team called Blue.
Yeah.
I think the Blue Jays are still popular in Toronto. Just
pretty sure they've.
They are just popular. Yeah, that sounds right.
That's what you guys got the Maple Leafs, you got the Raptors.
I have things to do, guys.
But you also have I guess the Bills are the closest NFL team to Toronto. I know they've played some games in Toronto before. So I guess this is the Toronto Argonauts if we want to get into Canadian football.
That's why you know that. I love that you know that.
Font of useless knowledge. So that's good.
Maybe they play with is it Hamilton, Tiger Cats or something?
The Tiger Cats! Okay, I'm very
excited. Googling? It's Mr. stealth Googling. Do you ever do that? You're like, oh, that's great, guys. Or you're just you're quickly Googling and you don't really know. You ever do that?
It's stuck in the back of my brain because of another Canadian who's from that area.
Yeah. Maitreyi helps with our Canadian quota. Maitreyi keeps her. Gotta get a third. Really stepping up. We miss old Matty Two Arms. He was one of our other Canadians. Okay. So signal when it's time for you to come in. I'm just gonna kind of tap my head a little bit. Okay, and that's when you know it's your turn to come back in. So if you're not listening, it's time to put your headphones back on. Does that sound good?
That's a bald joke, and I don't appreciate it.
I don't care. So let's dive in. Okay. So Maitreyi, Ashley, and Long, you're gonna be. You can listen in. Actually, you know what? Take your damn headphones off. I think it's unfair. We've only been treating Steven and Melissa this way, so we should probably
Y'all
do
are
that.
about to feel so lonely.
It doesn't matter where Ashley is. Ashley just gets to take her headphones off.
Yeah.
She's just.
I'm gonna start talking.
In particular, Ashley. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing.
I'm gonna talk a lot of fucking trash about Ashley in a second when she takes her headphones off.
That's okay. Bye.
You don't have to technically take your headphones off. You can just mute your audio if you have the ability to do that. Okay. Here we go. So last time around, Will, you were bleeding out in the back of the car, after having that crazy chase and then battle out by the Fragrant Honey Shop. Marie, Frank, you decided to get him some medical attention. T was able to direct you to a woman by the name of Madam Lin, who is in the Chinatown neighborhood of Bangkok. You went there because you were trying to not draw attention to any like actual hospitals. You didn't want to get any sort of law enforcement attention. She was a semi-retired herbalist, but did manage to help you out, Will, and get you back from death. You did need some recuperation time, so Marie and Will, you both went back to the Trocadero Hotel, which is the second hotel you chose. It was the original one that Frank was staying at, and you guys eventually moved from Hotel Oriental. And then you've decided that T and Frank were going to drive Daniel Lohman to a remote country estate that T's family happens to own. Because T, as you've started to learn here and there, he is a intelligent guy. He studied at the Sorbonne, and he is a political science guy, and his family is a big deal. And you guys are like, hey, drive around and kill people with us. And so you send him off, excuse me. And then with no messages from Bev or Patrick or Shyma, you all decided that you're going to change your approach finally. So first you sent off a telegram to Janet Winston Rogers. You kind of updated her on everything that was going on. And then you started doing some research into the Sirikon family, which is Savitri's family, in Kokuk Island. That led you to a couple different places. You started at some university libraries, things like that. But eventually you found yourselves in Pattaya, which is a fishing village. It's about 2 hours south of Bangkok. And there you learn that Kokuk Island is a very feared place. And it's somewhere that the locals don't travel anymore. And you also got some history that there was like a noble family. The Sirikon family had control of the island for about 100 years. But no one's really seen the family in several years. And the servants aren't there anymore. And they used to come to the village every now and then for supplies, and they don't see that anymore whatsoever. You managed to get one specific fisherman talking. He overindulged a bit on some rice whiskey, and he told a story about a local who about a year ago disappeared after taking his boat to the island, only to have his body then wash up on shore. And when found, his body was clearly dead. His body was bloated, but he had manifested a mouth on his shoulder, which was still alive. It was spitting, it was hissing, and it was cursing in some hideous, unknown language that you all, or at least Marie, would be familiar with. The authorities quickly disposed of the body, and then the community effectively tried to move on. So we're going to start with the two of you. It was very late by the time you got the last bits of this story out from your new fisherman friend. It is about 2 hours to get back to Bangkok proper. So you do have it would be a fairly late night drive. So is it fair to say that you guys are staying overnight, finding some simple room and board? Okay.
It would be. I think it makes sense. We've had a long few days.
And, being out of Bangkok even for a night, doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Okay, very
Agreed.
good. So we will hand wave the specifics, but the furnishings are modest. They're not nearly as nice as Trocadero or the Hotel Oriental, but they're nice enough that you all can, at least Marie, you can tick up some health if you need to. Otherwise, both of you can reset your daily sanity if you haven't already done so. Morning will come. This is your 5th day in Bangkok now, as dawn comes. And
real quick, if you wouldn't mind me checking in, because we finished another night, do we get to attempt to increase our tie?
That's a great point. Yeah. I say the two of you, especially this day, as you've been doing some reading and a lot of conversation, both of you can go ahead and do our little house rule for learning more language.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go right ahead. Both of you want to go ahead and give that a roll really fast? Just get that taken care of.
It's an intelligence roll, right?
It's intelligence, yeah.
Yep.
And this is just purely us doing our house roll. I'm not really happy with how the slow process of learning languages. So in this case,
pass for me.
Okay, excellent. Marie?
Fail for me.
Okay. So I'm trying to remember the
1d3
numbers.
1d3 for a failure and 1d6 for a success.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, we'll got 3 back. Very nice. and Melissa also got 3 back.
2. I got 2. It was a D3.
Oh, my bad.
It's a D3,
Okay.
so that would be a 2.
All right.
So I'm up to a grand total of 5, Ty.
Morning comes.
I'm up to 4.
You feel as you wake that, Will, you're probably still clearly in some sort of pain. Major wound is keeping you from really doing proper recuperation, and the fact that you're up and moving rather than being in a hospital bed is probably not helping matters too much. But it is morning. You peek out, you see the sun rising over the horizon a bit. You see like the village is kind of getting about its business. There's already boats that have gone out into the water. Some still linger. I think you guys probably rented a car or maybe even purchased I think that's probably more than likely what you did.
Yeah.
What is your next steps for the two of you?
So we were talking and we were discussing the Loman claiming that he had our plane grounded or impounded or flagged by authorities. And Will would probably be more motivated by wanting an escape route out of Bangkok with the way things are going. But we've discussed making sure that the plane is available so that we could do recon for Kokrook Island.
Okay.
Yes,
that
I
sounds fine.
think we could get a boat to look at the island, well, since we're here. But I just worry that you're not in such good shape. And if we take a boat, then...
May not see much from a boat, and even then, if there's something that, if they have boats, they'll be faster than anything we can rent for the day. I think it's better to be up in the air.
Fair point. We're here and so close, but I do agree. It makes sense to know if we're going to be able to leave again and get a bird's eye view, as it were.
Okay. So we'll say you make your way back to Bangkok by mid to late morning. Do you push straight to the airport?
I think that makes sense. No
Okay.
need to stop at the hotel. How about you?
So you know that you came in to Don Muang Airport, which I think is a bit north of where you are staying. So you drive on out, and we'll start the scene up. You are in the airport. No issues whatsoever. Found a place to get your car parked, probably valet of some kind. You come inside. You can see that there is a mix of plenty of other foreign nationals kind of moving about here and there. You can see like this seems to be somewhat of a hub. What is your strategy here? Like, what do you think you guys are looking to do? I know what your intentions are, but what's your strategy for achieving it?
I would say Marie is going to go try to find someone who works there, trying to see if there's someone who might speak English, hopefully.
Okay.
So she may try to see if she can ask in Thai if someone speaks English.
Okay. You could... okay, so if you're just trying to find someone like an airport official, like you're just trying to go to some basic airport office, not necessarily
attendant or someone, yeah.
Okay. I think we can do that. That sounds fine. So give me just give me a luck roll. And this is really just a matter of timing. I have a lot of little timing things going on. Like, how quickly do you find one? Is this something that takes a little while, or is it something that you have to kind of really push for?
It takes a while. I rolled a 95.
Okay. Eventually, you're kind of given the runaround for a bit. You speak to a handful of officials, and as you kind of convey your intentions, maybe some of it is just like it's the lack of clarity. Maybe it's early morning hours. Maybe they're just busy. But I'm gonna say it's probably not until like lunchtime, like noonish, where as you're waiting around in this airport office, someone eventually comes and speaks with you, and you see a man, a Siamese man, slender, relatively short. He looks to be kind of in his sort of middle years, big, thick glasses, and he introduces himself. He's Paul Rin, and he apologizes profusely. He's saying, and he speaks. All of this is in English, and he's like, I'm very sorry, but I was busy with a different situation, and as I am the only one currently on staff today fluent in English, it took a while for me to get here. What is it that I can do for you, madam?
Yes, I'm sure you're in high demand these days. Of course, no problem.
We are very proud of the expansions of the airport. Yes.
Excellent. What I'm hoping you can help me with is we have a plane, and silly me, I should have taken everything off the plane when we deplaned, but of course I forgot a small bag, and so she will give the identification number, so like the NC number of the plane.
Okay.
Would very much like to be able to get back on board just to retrieve the last of my things. I'm so sorry, just absent-minded. And she'll kind of refer back to Will. My husband always tells me, make sure to look for all of your bags and count them before you leave the plane, and I just forget.
And he's like smiling, kind of nodding a little bit along. Give me a charm test.
Yeah.
All this sounds this all sounds entirely reasonable. Nothing like you're fast talking a little bit, but I know you prefer charm, and it seems like you're trying to be friendly.
For sure. Silly woman. Are you kidding me? 90. Okay, hold on.
When you look back at Will, he's not there.
I have. It's a charm test. I rolled a 93. I have an 80. I'm going to spend the 13 luck.
Fair enough.
To get that to a pass. This is worth.
Okay, Will's there.
Okay. He laughs. He laughs. Of course we can help you. And he like, one moment. As he takes like the insignia number, he kind of goes back. You can see him kind of flipping through some books. He's talking to one or two people, probably a little bit out of obvious earshot. And you can see they look up at you and they kind of point, and then they look back down here, and there's a lot of like this exchange going on, right? And it's just like, what are they saying? What are they doing? Eventually he comes back, and you can see he has like some keys in his hand, and he's like, if you will come with me, I can drive you out to the hangar where your vessel is stored, and we can see about finding your missing bag. Was it?
Yes, and she'll do the thing that I wouldn't do on stream, and I can't physically do anyway, but kind of fingers in the mouth whistle. Dearest. And she's like looking for Will, because if they're going to another location, she would want him as an escort.
Yeah, Will would catch up.
Okay. So
probably wouldn't say much because he wouldn't know exactly what the exchange happened, so he wouldn't want to blow her cover.
My dear, these lovely gentlemen are going to take us to the other hangar where the plane is, so that I can grab my bag.
Just one lovely gentleman.
Well, that's excellent. You're always losing bags. We know this, but are we sure it's on the plane?
I've checked. Here, I have checked the room 3 times. The only place that it could possibly be is still on the plane. I know. Well,
let's hope it is. There's only one way to find out. We gotta look, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's nothing on there.
Okay.
And she just sort of like looks off and sighs, and then kind of sticks her arm out, waiting for Will to put his arm out to walk out to the plane.
He leads you out, Mr. Parn. And you kind of go back through like what clearly is like some kind of employee kind of hallway. He holds a door, kind of lets both of you through, and kind of closes it behind him, make sure it's locked, and he kind of continues with you. And you find yourselves like walking across, just across from where the main kind of terminal area of business is, off towards these more remote series of hangars. And it's not that far away. There is like, so far today, it's been it's been a nice day, but you realize as you're halfway there, it just starts to, you hear as like the sudden thunder like crackles and the rain begins to fall a bit, and then he starts like kind of running and hustling a bit as the rain starts to fall. But the three of you, as you're like kind of hit with this relatively warm rainwater, and you kind of get soaked a bit, you get to the hangar itself, and he kind of goes through a side door, not like the big hangar door, but he goes to like this little side door, and you go inside, and you can see there parked here along with another small plane is the Silverlands.
And Marie does kind of verify the number, make sure this is the plane.
Yep, that's good. You even see like a dangling something dangling from like somewhere in the cockpit that Frank would have. What's something that Frank would carry, or like some sort of affectation?
I don't think they had fuzzy dice at the time.
I don't think so either. I was about to say that. Use these dice or something like that.
Maybe a hula girl. They had the hula girls.
So I was thinking too. I was thinking like a tiki thing or something, like the hula dancing thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You see that, and you're like, that's Frank. Okay.
Is there like a police presence or a security presence like at the airport, and especially this hangar?
You've definitely seen it, but there's no one in here. This is just the three of you right now, actually, in this hangar.
Okay. Well, then Will would go towards the plane and open it up and look around.
Okay. Very good. So, do you think Frank would have given you the keys before, like all of the necessary?
Oh, no. Sorry, I thought he was getting the keys.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not. This is just not entirely sure about whether they would have to leave. I would think they would probably have to leave some kind of access keys. I think so.
Okay.
I think
There'd
so.
be some way to secure.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it makes sense.
Something. Yeah.
They do now. We've decided.
We're going to say they are.
This one
in
does.
our game, they do.
Okay. So
I look at the door expectantly.
Okay. And I will say that like he comes over and he's like, do you not have the access? He's kind of looking at you, wondering.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm not the pilot. I don't have the keys. I am a mechanic, though. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a look around the bottom. And I'd start circling around the plane.
Okay. And he kind of raises an eyebrow. And this is like the first real sign of suspicion, as you don't have the keys and you're now circling around. And as you're doing that, he turns to your wife, and he is like, Madam, do you know the owner of record on this plane?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We flew in with him. Frank Kearns is the pilot, and the plane, I believe, belongs to the Winston Rogers family from the
pharmaceutical company,
US of A.
Oh, very good, very good. And you see he's a little bit relieved, but he's also very confused. So,
and my husband did tell me that I didn't think that planes were like cars. I thought they wouldn't have keys, and I thought we could just go in and we could look for it. And he did tell me that maybe we may not be able to get in, but I said there must be some nice people there that could help us look for my bag in the plane.
Well, we can taxi the plane around, yes, but the actual cabins are. We would be horrified if we were to go through someone else's private belongings. After all, if you can't be safe with air travel, trust those that you're keeping within your hangars, what can you possibly be safe with? So he's looking quite accused. Could you perhaps contact the pilot? Maybe he could come here as well, Mr. Kearns.
Yes, he just told us that he was taking a trip out a bit and he wasn't going to be able to be back in town until tomorrow. And I just, you know how it is. There's just that pair of shoes that you need for the event, and just another pair of shoes just won't do.
Yes, of course. I know that
he's
very
not
well.
Back until tomorrow, and the event.
May I've been telling you the
evening.
bag's not even on the plane. We're wasting this man's time. I'm sorry about this.
If you are certain that you cannot reach Mr. Kearns, then I would not.
We'll be able to reach him. We'll be able to get in touch with him tonight. We're meeting him for dinner, and we'll see if we can come back out tomorrow.
I thought she said that was not going
He's
to
not
be
going to be
here
back until
until
tomorrow. Do you
tomorrow.
remember? That's
Tomorrow
why
for
we
dinner.
needed
Okay.
after I
My
need the
bad.
shoes for tonight. He wasn't
See.
going to be back tonight. He's going to be back tomorrow.
Well, I have many other things I need to do, unfortunately. So if this is all that you need,
Would I have been able to see any signs of like sabotage or like a seal, like a official
Sure.
seal or something that had been put on the plane?
yeah, you want to do like a mechanical repair or something like that?
Or a spot hidden, if that would work.
Sure. I don't think they're quite giving you the same things. I think mechanical repair is like you're looking and you know what you're looking for. Spot hidden, you're just kind of hoping you're seeing something out of place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can look in a car engine, and if I'm an auto mechanic, I can know if something's been mechanically messed with.
In my mind, if like he called customs, they would have put like a seal on it or something, or a marker
Okay.
of some sort. So that's
Sure.
that's what Will would have been looking for more than.
Give me a roll.
Okay. I rolled a 45, and my spot hidden is 45.
You don't see any signs that there has been any tampering with whatever. If you want to say that there are seals, sure. You don't see any signs of any kind of tampering.
My mechanical repair skill isn't high enough that I would actually notice sabotage either, anyways.
Okay.
So as long as everything looks fine, I think Will would be fine to call it a day.
Okay. So then he will go ahead and he will escort you all back to the airport. And I'm going to switch over to the other side of this game because they have been waiting patiently. And so get the hell out of here. And I will make the signal. Let's see if they know the signal. And with the ear and the eyes. And then say, nope. Okay. All right. Oh, Maitreyi. We're waiting on Maitreyi. Okay. All right. So, all right. Let's switch over some music. You back? You there, Maitreyi? All right. Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Everything just takes me like half a second.
Nah, you're great. You're great. Okay. So for you three, Shyma and Patrick, you two have been here on this island for an indeterminate amount of time. At least a day and a half, maybe longer. The time is a little bit unclear to you. But you last session, you rested. You started inside of this sort of massive library inside of this aging estate on the island, and you also started going through some of these books and materials and things like that. Obviously, it is so enormous that it's going to take you much longer than just a couple hours in the afternoon, but you did manage to glean a few things. I think Shyma picked out at one point a map of some kind, and I think Patrick, you started going through some journals as well, if I recall. Then, eventually, night came, and the two of you heard a bell. When we look out the window and we creep down to the dock and we see, lo and behold, there is Tawi Udum. And he is standing at the end of the dock with a boat behind him. And there is a cage on the dock where he's standing, and he doesn't seem to be progressing further onto the beach. Inside that cage is Bev. Bev had a rough day. Bev woke up hanging from, not unlike Shyma, in fact, hanging from the rafters, bleeding, wounds, etc. Met with a very quirky man by the name of Suk. And at a certain point, sort of to drift off, as it appears she was drugged. She woke up briefly. She heard a thrumming, which you probably can now put together was the sounds of maybe the boat engine. And then when you finally woke up once more, and this time with greater awareness, you saw that you were being put onto some old decrepit looking island. There's a dock, etc. Tawi leaves you there. Boat drives away. You manage to break out of the cage on your own. And as you stand up and you look, you see coming up from the dock and you going down the dock, there are 3 individuals, 2 of whom you recognize, although their conditions are vastly different than when you left them. You see Shyma, you see Patrick, both of whom are wearing probably very little clothing, if any at all. I'm not sure if you guys kind of tried to get modest or not. Another woman you don't recognize, Siamese woman. And the most horrifying thing is that they have on their bodies in various places, Patrick and Shyma on their arms and this other woman on her leg, these small, gnashing, hissing, spitting mouths that occasionally howl, and that tongue that you've heard elsewhere, including in Savannah, where you were nearly killed. I need Bev to make a SAN roll at the sight of this.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Fail 76.
All right. Well, you're gonna take a little SAN. Okay, you're gonna take 3 points of SAN loss as you see these massive mouths. Now, they're not massive. They're the size of like a fist, but you can see they are. Maybe Patrick and Shyma have like partially tried to obscure them, or they kind of keep them. And one of them, as Shyma gave you a hug, literally bit you. And as you stepped away, that's probably when you got the best look at it. Whereas in the shadows, it was not as clear. But Bev, you've taken 3 sanity loss. You've seen these 2 friends of yours, including Shyma, who you've known for much longer than Patrick, and who is in your care, technically. And you are on this island. I'm going to turn it over to you guys. What are you all doing in this moment? Nighttime.
Dr. Key, you're alive.
You're alive? In what? How did you get these?
It was Savitri. She poked us and they grew.
She poked you with what? With like she
The
injected
spear
you?
here. Must have been the nectar, some sort of ritual.
This is not good. We need to get these off of you.
It's been like that for who knows how long already. Did the others find you? What make of them?
I don't know. We were trying to go to the honey shop to find you guys to make sure if you were alive or dead, and Will made it sound like you were dead, and there's no way. And then Taui and his men chased us, and I wasn't able to get away. And I don't know what happened to Marie or Will or Kearns.
That's where we went too. Look where we ended up.
If they were captured, they'd be brought here with you. So they weren't captured.
I was captured once before and I wasn't brought here, so I don't know.
Were you taken to the honey shop? That was what took us there in the first place. We were trying to find you.
We tried to go to the honey shop and we got a different passcode from Daniel Lohman, but I knew we couldn't trust him, but you know, I knew I should have killed that piece of shit. And I abducted him. I don't know if I said that before. We were trying to find you guys, and
Lots happened. We'll fill you in. But there's a house in the hill.
okay.
And there's an older woman in there who's Salvatore's grandmother, and she's very afraid of Salvatore.
Yeah, that's
Which makes
fair.
sense. Salvatore and Sherman kind of looks off and has a similar kind of energy as when Bev was going into the nectar in LA, like doing that research. Like
Mhm.
she has the same kind of like manic curiosity in her eyes. Kind of looks off like, which makes sense. I mean, Salvatore was very, very fast. She had 2 mouths on her. Do you think the mouth made her fast? This mouth isn't making me fast. Although maybe it is. There was a moment where it felt like everything was moving very fast. So maybe the mouth is making me fast?
Maybe let's figure out how to get this off of you.
No, definitely. But you know, while I still have it on me, we should experiment with it because we have it here.
Presumably that's how things get worse. You remember me when I studied
I've
nectar.
only had
It's a-
this. I don't even. We killed her, and I mean,
you killed
this
Savitri.
helped. This helped.
Okay.
I took a bite out of her the same way I took a bite out of you.
So what, am I gonna die now because it bit me?
I don't think you are going to die. I don't want to try that with you.
Let's not. I didn't get to see it, but when I was in the honey shop, the guy who was healing me, he said something about, feeding the mouth with other people. So I don't think
flesh before. It did seem to like that.
Here or at the
just here, just a few hours ago.
Yeah, you don't want to feed it.
No, it's if you have it, you should experiment with it. It doesn't make sense not to.
No, once you are seen by something, it incorporates
nobody else is
more.
here, Dr. He. No, this. I'm not going to ask for your help to do this experiment. And she looks at the mouth on her hand with this maybe a little more reverence than she should.
And it goes, and then it spits, and this caustic fluid gets you like right in your cheek and begins to sizzle away at this small mark. And then
if I know how to feed it, it's not going to do that. I mean, we should get rid of it. Obviously, we should get rid of it. But until we get rid of it,
we
should make sure. We should.
I think we lost Ashley. I think Ashley's lagging a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, she's frozen in horror.
Dude, whatever.
She can't believe at what has become of Shyma. Okay. So as the two of you are arguing over the mouth, Patrick, your friend, who you've learned the name of as she introduced herself, since none of you cared to ask, to Beverly as Ancana Montri, and she steps up and she says to you, Patrick, and she says, Well, now what? That was a both. That was a now. What are we doing? What's next? And you can see she's panicking a little bit, but seeing a fourth person that you apparently know, like,
it's okay. They've left us alone for now, but we have to figure out when they'll come back. We'll look for a way off as well.
We should go back to the house, but we should make sure to only go to places that we've been to before, because the entire island is full of traps and ambush spots. So Doctor, please make sure to follow very closely with me and Patrick.
Okay. If there's stuff here, like for production of this, it needs to be destroyed so that no one else can continue to do so.
We haven't had a chance to look. Mr. Price only killed himself there a few hours ago.
And at that point, you see kind of Bev is kind of woozy, and she at that point touches the back of her head, and she pulls her hand away, and you witness just blood. And like as she turns her head to the side, you can see in her freshly blonde hair, the back of her head is just fully matted with blood, because when she was basically abducted and kidnapped, she took a major wound, which I'm gonna play off as like a concussion and a skull fracture.
Okay. Man, the head wounds Bev's been getting.
I'm just stacking them up,
Yeah.
I'd like to say the mouth on Shyma's hand does react a little bit, so she kind of instinctively takes a step back. Maybe you should walk a little ahead.
While we're at the docks, is it pretty bare bones? There's not much here.
Yes. So the docks themselves, you can tell, are very rickety. You don't think they're particularly safe. It's not the type of place you would probably want to linger on very often. You don't see anything connected to them. Shyma came through here earlier. Down the shore, not very far from the docks, there's a boathouse. But Shyma, when you were in there, there wasn't a boat. There were some tools which you were able to bring.
Yeah.
Like they're old and rusty, and they're not in good condition, but you were able to bring them as like improvised weapons and things like that.
Sure.
But just looking around, Patrick, you don't see anything like that. The one other thing
I
Shyma
will
saw.
point out the woodhouse, Patrick, and say that's where I got our weapons from.
Mhm. And the other thing Shyma saw along the beach when she had gone off on her own, she did see that there were boats that had been completely and utterly burnt and destroyed, like different kinds of boats, like definitely giving the vibe that no one's, there's no way off. And so like they weren't in like salvageable condition. They were just straight up toast. The other thing I would say is, Shyma, you should look at your HP. You have 2 HP and a major wound yourself. So don't forget that you're probably, you've probably lost a lot of blood as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So nighttime, Bev is here. 2 of you have major wounds. Patrick, I think you've lost a lot of HP, but you don't have a major wound. What do you think you all would want to do? What's the first step here?
Most likely regroup back at the house, get in contact with the grandmother.
Okay.
Ruthie?
Ravi. Okay. So as you go back up, so what you see, this is mainly for Ashley's benefit. And the 2 of you have seen the house before, but this is was likely once a very lovely estate in the kind of a colonial architectural style. And it sits atop a small hill on a low canopy jungle. You can't really see much. It's very, very dark. There's not a lot of light. The ambient light is mostly just some starlight here and there, but for the most part, it's very, very dark. I'm assuming you guys are carrying a lantern around. Maybe you found in the library. So like with you guys, you would have light, but it's not like there's other things to look at. But the mansion itself looks extremely like downtrodden. Like you can see like the rafters themselves are collapsed here and there. The floorboards have been ripped apart. You can see there's all sorts of like mildew, mold, etc. Like it's not a place that has been cared for in quite some time. There's overgrowth when it comes to like vines and vegetation. And as you move into like the entry point, you can see that there's spots on like this partial wraparound porch that have been broken here and there as well. Inside, you can see that there at one point was probably a very grandiose entryway, and off to the side there's like a ballroom area with a piano that Patrick, you had inspected once. There's a curling stair that goes up, and there's a dining room where a lot of the fighting initially was being done between Patrick and Savitri. So the library is upstairs, and when you get up there, Bev, what you see is, I mean, it is, when we say library, when people say they have libraries, like personal libraries, it's usually maybe a few dozen, 100 or 2 books or so. This is enormous. This place is from floor to ceiling, several stacks high, and then all throughout more books stacked. This puts Trammell's collection to shame. This is multiple times the size of it. This is the type of place that would take literally months, if not years, to kind of pour through. And as you just kind of go flipping through it here and there, Bev, you can see that some of these texts are written in Latin, some in English, some in Arabic, all sorts of different languages, all of which, though, just a quick cursory glance, are occult in nature, historical in nature. You can see just like the breadth of what could potentially be available here is enormous. You get the feeling that Savitri was not just like a kind of crazed combatant, but that she was particularly scholarly. And Patrick and Shyma, you got that impression from Ravi herself, as she had been sending out teams to various places around the world and collecting artifacts and collecting books, specifically tomes, as part of her gig, as part of what she was doing here. And so people, when they came here, they would deliver her folks like you, for her to hunt, but they would also deliver her big, casks and trunks filled with tomes, and she was searching for some kind of question, some sort of big answer, some mystery that the grandmother was only somewhat privy to. So it's nighttime. It is a hideous place, but the library is probably the best condition of the rooms that you've been in. Is there anything you guys want to do tonight before, you try to maybe rest for the night?
I'd like to look around the house more, see if there's any rooms we haven't entered.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Bev or Shyma, anything in particular?
I'd like to show Dr. Keys Safdie's body and explain that, hacked off the arm, Mouse didn't die when she died. That basically preliminary findings in manic scholarly energy.
Bev, you see that one of her arms has been severed. You can see that there is a mouth on it that is trying to gnaw at itself. And you can see one of her legs, one of her thighs has a mouth as well. Just for effect, maybe her body was laid in such a way that her two legs kind of brushed up against one another. And you can see the thigh mouth is gnawing at the others. Blood kind of coming down here and there. But otherwise, you see a middle-aged woman, relatively short, slender, fit, filled with scars and some piercings and tattoos, but very much dead. And not for very long. It's only been maybe 12 hours or so. So think about what you want to do with that. Let me describe for Patrick what he sees around the place. You've explored the Grand Ball, so some significant places, Patrick, that are still in somewhat decent condition. There is a grand ballroom, like I mentioned before. There's a shattered chandelier that's kind of looks like it's on the verge, and you realize probably at the last second that maybe there's some kind of trap associated with it. There are some servants' quarters, very narrow rooms, broken, rusted bed frames, rotting mattresses. It just, you can probably pull a couple of these mattresses and they would be more comfortable than the floor. But at the same time, they are filthy. And some of them are very damp. There's this acrid reek in them, and you can see a few of them probably have very old stains that don't seem to align with just grime, like you would guess maybe blood or feces or something. There's the dining table. There's a dining hall you've already seen. The conservatory is overgrown with vines. You and Ankana came into the place initially through here. Lots of insects. You hear the sounds of some hidden mouth. Now the sound to identify. You just hear this weird kind of a very sibilant language being shouted from somewhere in the bushes. And that hiding probably in the conservatory somewhere are some more of these small mouths. You also find a smoking room. So you can see there's a lot of leather armchairs that are sagging with rot. Some of them have been broken into pieces. Others have been ripped apart to get some of the wooden pieces to use, probably to fashion the spears or weapons. There is a stench of tobacco in here, and you do find there are old cigar and cigar boxes and what's it called? Bags of actual chewing tobacco, but none of it you would think is probably in good condition. There's also a collapsed fireplace that seems to have crumbled in upon itself as well. Eventually, Patrick, you also find the grandmother's suite, and it is towards the rear of the mansion. It's on the ground level a bit. It's a little bit lower than, say, the ballroom, for instance. But you can see that there is a patio on the backside as you kind of walk down a path and sweep around. And you can see it's more like a detached, almost like a cabana, its own little separate detached area. And there's a few of these. You can see this terrace of these small cabanas that lead up towards the larger mansion. And you can see that this is the only place where light is coming from. And there's a little bit of light kind of coming out. You don't get the sense that it's reading light. You think it might be a cooking fire or something like that coming through one of the windows. And that's what you see as you peruse.
So in those rooms, the greenhouse, I would maybe poke around with the spear, see if just stabbing the mouths would do anything.
Okay. So I would say if you're just looking to kind of take them out like one by one, you're adept. You're adept at this point where I'm not going to like go into full ass combat with them. But I will ask for give me a spot hidden or a survival, one of the two, to start searching through and seeing if you can just find some to just do away with.
Spot hidden, 22, pass.
Okay. You are able to very carefully sift through these and catch them before they catch you. Had you failed, they probably would have gotten a shot off on you. But in this case, you're able to very quickly, like you hear the, and then everything goes quiet. You see a frond kind of shift. And then as it turns, there's a mouth on the underside of it. And you just quickly stab the spear. You find two more. One seems to be on the underside of like a broken pot. And you're able to stab away with that. And you can see a third one seems to be gnawing on a long dead carcass of a rat, just kind of essentially attached to a giant pile of like soil and sludge. They don't seem to have, like you've noticed now that these mouths can essentially grow or attach themselves to anything. Organic matter, inorganic matter, doesn't matter. Yeah. It's a lot of matter.
Back in the smoke room, I would salvage maybe some of that old tobacco or cigars just to try later.
Okay, yeah, you can grab some. It's fairly damp and gross. You would imagine you would need to dry them out, the cigars, to see if they would light at all and whether or not you get any kind of flavor from them. But you certainly could try, no doubt.
Then I'll check on the grandmother.
When you kind of go up to her place, you kind of quietly knock and you peek inside. It is a small suite of rooms, so it's not just a singular room. But this is the first time you've seen furniture that is actually in good shape. It's well arranged neatly. You can see there's not even dust really. It all seems like it's well cared for and well taken care of. You can see that they're moved in such a way so there's easy walkways. You remember that she had like the two different colored eyes. You can tell she was having trouble seeing. But as you kind of step in, she kind of calls, "Hello, who's that?" "Oh, it's you. The boat did not kill you."
No, but it gave us one of our friends. Likely to meet her.
Another has come.
You said it was sooner than you thought. How usual does it come?
Once, perhaps twice a fortnight. That they brought you here, not on their normal schedule, suggests that you are special in some way.
We have no way off yet, but could spend the morning searching.
If you feel that is what you need to do, then do so. But be very careful. My granddaughter was very smart, very clever, and very cruel. There are no doubt still vile traps that might hurt you. I have heard many a wail from the jungle of one who had fallen in a pit or been hung from a tree. It would be a pity for you to die now after your accomplishments.
Thanks for the reminder. I've run into a few already.
And as you're talking, you can feel the mouth in your arm kind of pulsing. And at one point, it just hisses. And she like drops what she's doing. You see like she nearly kind of she has like this small little cooking fire, and she's just, you can see is kind of making herself some food. And she nearly drops everything. What are those things? Get it out of here. Get it out.
I'm sorry. Now back up.
Okay. Let me go back over to Bev or Shyma before I switch over to the other two again. Anything the two of you would be doing?
I think honestly Bev would be very overwhelmed and
Sure.
would probably be looking for something comforting to do, and that's, reading. So she'd probably see if there's some sort of notes that Savitri had looking for a solution to perhaps reverse the ritual. I know it would be a long time, but she's gonna start it.
So effectively, there are two occult tomes in here. One of them is her journals, which is essentially a group of many, like dozens of journals that Patrick has kind of skimmed through here or there. And then the other is the library itself. Now, we could still pull specific tomes out here and there, but generally speaking, like her library is kind of functioning mechanically as a tome.
As a tome, okay.
So skimming through her library would literally take weeks and weeks. A library use would shorten that, but it would still take a significant time. Skimming through her books would take not as long, would take a couple days, but again, a library use would reduce it. But if you're not proficient in Siamese, it would be more difficult because her notes are in sort of a native language.
Okay.
But you are welcome to give it a try. So like if you wanted to say, more than likely, if you were going to find anything like that, and again, there's no guarantee that you will, the journals would probably be a better place to look.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Because everything in the library looks to be like published tomes and things like that. So give me a library use and a language Siamese test.
All right. My library use is 87. And I passed with a 1.
A critical success?
Crit success.
Holy crap. Didn't you roll one last session too?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
so basically it's 4 days, cut in half for a success, cut in half again for a extreme success. And so with a critical success, I'll say you can knock it out in less than a day. But you still need to roll your language Siamese test, and this might slow it down a little bit because it might take you a little bit longer. Actually, you know what? Because it's a critical success, I'll say that's the effect. I'll waive the Siamese. I'll say you're able to. And then you can probably also, you have a native Siamese woman here with you who is regularly following Patrick around. You read through and skimming it, you basically, and some of this I think Patrick got already, but let me repeat it. You learn kind of 3 basic tenets or basic concepts, conclusions that she was sort of coming to. One, you find at one point that there is a note, a little message. Maybe it was like tucked into one of the journals themselves. I'm not going to share it mechanically, but you guys can find it if you go in manually to our clues folder and scroll all the way down. And there is a handout that I'm about to reveal. I don't want to share it because I don't want the two of them to see it. That says report on Brooks's expedition. Okay. So it says, I'm sorry. So it's just a report. It's signed by someone with the initial CC. I'm sorry to report that I have still not been able to identify the target of Brooks's current obsession, but it's big. He's pouring as many resources into this as into the singing career for his little honey. I'm pretty much 100% certain that ST isn't in the loop on this one. This is all Brooks. ST you would probably presume is Samson Trammell. What I can tell you is that Sancho Dominguez, not the first time you've heard that name, Sancho Dominguez has been tapped for it. That's his lieutenant. He doesn't trust anyone more than Dominguez. My guy on the inside says that Dominguez and his boys, there's about a dozen of them in all who are making at least motions towards tagging along on this joyride, are referring to this as something, the Big G. And while I don't know their final destination, I do know their first stop is Merida, which, as you know, is in the Yucatan. They've also been hitting up local shops to find all the maps they can of the peninsula. I'm not sure how deep into the interior they're planning to go, but there's a lot of unexplored territory for them to get lost in. As you are reading that, and you've skimmed through some of the other things, you recall that Big G could be Golgoroth. That could be a name. You know the name G that's popped up. You're not sure, but it could be other things. But you conclude that Savitri does not believe that the entity, which is sort of loosely referred to as the thing with 1,000 mouths, is Golgoroth. And she also seems to suspect that it isn't Nyarlathotep either, even though, like, in some of the correspondence she has with Trammell, she seems to suggest that she does believe him. But in her personal journals, you get the sense that she thinks he's kind of full of shit. And she's also kind of keeping him in the dark about what she really thinks. You also see that she learned that Ramon Echevarria, George Ayers, who is the guy from UCLA who went to Ethiopia, and Samson Trammell called the true entity of who they were venerating back in the 1924, quote, the liar from beyond. But she hasn't been able, in all of her research, to be able to attach that particular epithet conclusively to any known mythos deity. And that's part of been her assignment to these various groups that she sends out into the world to find tomes and books and things. She believes that the knowledge that she's seeking, which is like the true cosmological identity of this deity, because she still doesn't think she knows who exactly this is essential to understand. Because if you do not know who it is and you try to venerate one of these great old ones in the wrong way, that could be catastrophic. So she talks a little bit about how she organized the Bangkok cult. Wow, that was terrible. The Bangkok cult to essentially allow her to, and this is interesting, Beverly, to remain apart from the major mouth and its feeding, fearing that something horrible and potentially apocalyptic could arise from the Bangkok mouth at any time. So you would probably conclude that there is no large mouth here on the island. And much like you've seen in other places, this doesn't seem to be the site of nectar production. Sadly, although you do find the specific ritual, the script that she uses for her hunts, you find absolutely nothing about removing the mouths, reversing it, or anything, nor any interest whatsoever. And from what you can probably glean, that would essentially be blasphemous or sacrilegious to her, as these are marks of veneration, as far as she sees it.
Okay.
There is also a 2-point sanity loss for this.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's like the full skim. I gave Patrick a little bit, but that's the full skim result. Okay.
Whew.
Anything else before I switch back to the others?
No, just an update. I'm at 6 of 10 out of my daily sands to
There we
just
go.
give you a...
You can rest soon. There's places to rest.
Yeah. Just keeping
Shyma
it
was
spicy.
Sure. Shyma, was there anything you wanted to do before I switch back over?
Don't have to roleplay it. Just I'm sharing the details of the Mount Kailash map with Dr.
Of course.
And just kind of being like, I found this, and it's an actual survey map. Ashley, sorry, Dr. So it's a very it's something we can use very specifically with currents to get to this specific place that seems to be marked on the map. And this was a location that had been referred to in correspondence with Brooks that passed away, and I found when we were going through his belongings.
Mm-hmm. Exactly correct. Okay. All right. Is it fair to say that the three of you would rest at some point in the night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say while you all are resting, those of you who do not have a major wound can tick your health back up. Those of you who do, unfortunately, you remain very injured.
Can
you also
we reset daily sand?
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. All three of you at this point, with relative safety, Tawi's not here, Savitri's not here. I'll say that this is good enough for you all to reset your daily sand.
Holy fuck! Thank you.
All right, I'm going to switch back now, so I'll see you guys in a bit. was fun. Keep tapping my head. Hey, what's up? All right.
Seinfeld, where you're just waiting to get out of the party. You just keep
Yeah, I
tapping.
just want to tap out. Just letting the coach know. Coach, I need a blow. Okay. Last we saw of you, the two of you, lunchtime, middle of the day, you all were returning to the Don Muang airport main terminal, having taken a look at the Silver Lance, Kearns's, and Janet Winston Wedge's plane by a Mr. Perrin, who is an airport official. And you unfortunately didn't have the keys from Kearns to actually get inside, but from what you could tell, Will, everything seemed to be okay. So you're back in the terminal. You can still be by Mr. Perrin if you want. What is the next plan for the two of you?
Go ahead, Marie.
So, well, my dear, it's if we don't end up being able to go to this event tonight, I don't know. Maybe there's something else we might be able to get our dear pilot friend back here sooner. And so she'll kind of turn to Mr. Perrin and say, "Would there be any issues if we decided that we might want to go for a bit of an excursion, maybe later today or tomorrow? Would that be any problem?"
You're asking the official if you're allowed to take your private plane out?
Yeah, because basically just sort of fishing for it. Was there some type of, ground order
Right.
kind of put in place for the plane? So, just if there's some sort of a reaction to,
Okay. He, as you maybe go back to his office, and he, one moment, and he kind of flips through, and he's like, it looks like any maintenance requests your pilot put in have been completed. If you all wish to take your vessel, you are more than welcome to. We
Excellent.
do ask as a courtesy if you are to let the officials know the nature of the flight, what purpose, how long. But no, I see no reason why you could. Seems to be in tip-top shape.
Thank you so very much. I am so sorry to have taken so much of your time today. And she'll try to sort of give him a little tip for his time.
Okay, sure.
And I promise I will not let her misplace the plane.
He looks at you for a second. Oh, you are making a joke.
Yeah. And Marie laughs. Yes.
Very good. Very good. You're very funny, sir. Very humorous indeed.
Thank you again. Here,
Okay.
let us go.
All right. So the two of you leave. Again, early afternoon. World's your oyster. What's next?
We're taking the plane out of Bangkok, right? We're headed back to America and just calling it a day.
Absolutely not. We have to do what we can to locate Dr. Key and Shyma and Mr. Price.
I feel like we have done what we can. I feel like reinforcements would be a good thing to have. We might as well go get them ourselves. No sense keeping Frank and ourselves in danger here.
This is not something that no. What we're going to do is we're going to see if we can ring this home that his relatives are at and see if we can get Frank back here so that he can fly us over. We're not just going to abandon them.
Fly us over to the Pacific.
No. Oh, when we have gathered our friends, it would behoove us to leave this place. I agree with you, but not before. We have done everything that we can to locate them. We have not done that yet.
Marie, I was hit by a car yesterday. I understand they're your friends. I understand you've worked with them a bit, but there's got to be a point where we cut our losses.
I'm not going to have this conversation at this point. There may be a time. That time is not now.
Do you mind telling me when that time might come so we can pick up the conversation again?
I'm sure I will be screaming it loudly at you that now is the time.
Let's hope that we don't spend too much time waiting for that time.
Yes.
But now's not the time.
Yes, I believe I have said this. Now is not that time.
And from there,
we get Frank to fly the plane.
From there, are we heading to the Trocadero?
So I believe it's canon, and Jeff, you can correct us if we're mistaken, that did this aristocrat home out in the country have telephone access where T and Frank were taking Daniel Lohman?
Yeah, that's fine. I have no reason to say that. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Okay.
So
we can
basic housekeeping. Go to the Trocadero, check for messages, make a phone call to Frank.
No messages. Make a phone call. Eventually, you call out to this countryside estate. It doesn't go through particularly easily, but eventually you do get T on the phone, and he'll pass it over to Frank. And Frank will. You tell him your plan, like you want him to come fly. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds fine. Just what are we doing with the glasses guy? We can't really leave it with this. He's already traumatized enough as it is. You want me to leave him here?
I think you should come flying with us. He can point out all the sights, right?
Okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but you want me to. We're gonna fly, but we need to somehow get this man onto the plane as well.
And Marie's just like off earshot a little bit. Who are you bringing?
We're gonna take Lohman on the plane with us.
Can you put Marie on?
Well, Frank, he fits easily in the trunk. We pull the trunk into the warehouse.
Will.
All right, fine.
Miss Wynn,
yes.
What would you like me to
Mr.
do with
Kearns.
Lohman? Will wants me to stuff him in a luggage or something like that and bring him on the plane. What are we doing with him?
We've really been so focused on trying to rescue the rest of our friends. I'm not entirely sure that we've decided what to do with him. Was Mr. Sawyer just recommending that we throw him in the plane with us?
Yes, he was. He's a real cut up, that guy. He's always got the jokes.
That is a good question. He would probably get the better of T if T were left alone.
It would be
him.
a bit of a wet noodle fight, I would imagine, between the two of them.
Oh dear. I was just expecting you to say that you were going to come here and we're going to fly the plane. And
I can do that. That's fine. I just want to know what you want me to do with Mr. Lohman.
How long of a drive was it out there if you just let him go and bring T
2
back
hours.
with you? And in a walk, it would take a lot longer than that?
You want me to just deposit him somewhere randomly?
I think that would give us some time where he needs to walk somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Okay.
Wait, you're letting him go?
What? We can't leave him with T. Do you just want to leave him there tied up in the house?
It's your call, Marie.
And T comes back?
Yep. You want to let him go, you let him go. I
don't think I don't think we should try to smuggle him with us into the hangar that we were just at. I don't think that's going to go well. We could leave him tied up at the house.
Not with T. You're right. Let him go. And then he'll hitch a ride, become a problem all over again.
They can knock him out and leave him in a field? we'll get at least several hours head start.
Okay, I'll take care of that for you, Miss Wynn. We'll be back tonight. All right. I'll talk to you then. Don't let Will do anything stupid.
Oh, we're very concerned, and she'll just, we don't have to RP it, but just give a little bit of the update of kind of what we've learned. And
yeah, that's fine. We can flash forward. I'm perfectly fine with that. Nighttime will come. He'll arrive, and it's probably he'll say, if we're flying. So we'll say we cut hours later that night. We'll say he's there. I let T head back to his place. That kid needed a good night's sleep. So
you tipped him well, yes.
Sure. Yeah. Don't Miss Winston Rogers will take very good care of him. I don't think money is necessarily his foremost concern at this point. However, we're flying over an island. Understood. I would suggest, and you know where it is. Yes?
Yeah, we can point it out on a map.
Okay. I would suggest that are we doing this as a flying over the water, flying without any idea of what we're flying over might be a little bit dangerous at night. So I suggest maybe
we won't
an
see
early
much
morning.
at night either.
Exactly. All right. So morning time.
Definitely
I think we need to file a flight plan or something like that anyways, right?
Yeah, it's not really official, but it's a courtesy, especially to out-of-towners like ourselves. I could take care of it.
Let's just hold off till the very last minute filing it.
Just going to say we're sightseeing. Nothing wrong with that.
That's
do it all the time.
That was my thought. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Sawyer and I are married.
Well, that's a development. Congratulations. I'm a bit disappointed that I wasn't invited. I figured I could have been your best man or something. I introduced you to after all.
I think it happened while I was unconscious because I just walked up and she started calling me dear.
All the best marriages do.
Just it's the cover story for the airport. I should have clarified.
I understood, Miss. You are a woman of
very
taste.
like red.
And this is Will. So yes, I understand. Okay, so we'll say, is there any other business that you guys wanted to do at night or in the morning? Anything else?
I think it kind of fits our narrative of needing to rest and recover anyways.
Okay. All right.
So yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we will say that morning will come. You rest. I know, Marie, you're topped off on health. You can reset your daily sand again. I think you already did. I don't think you lost any. You will get in touch with Frank. Three of you will drive to Don Muang Airport without any issues. No one comes to see you. No messages still. And you see Frank will do his business. He'll file not a flight plan, but just an informal purpose of his flight, where they're going to go, how long they're going to be gone, that sort of thing. Okay. And then you guys pull the Silver Lance out of the hangar. You take off. And I'm going to cut over to the rest of them now, if that's all right. If you all could...
Would I have been able to... No, it's too late. It's too late.
No,
it's fine.
Send me a message. Send me a message on Discord.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So Shyma, Bev, Patrick, you all are. You wake up the next day. Shyma and Patrick, did you all take steps to ensure the safety of your persons, considering the miles on you?
As best as possible, yeah.
Okay.
Same. I made it a point to stay as far away physically from everybody.
Okay. How would you have secured yourself to ensure it doesn't try to eat you? What do you think?
I would like to do that rap again that I had done the previous evening, and just make it twice as thick this time because it ate
Okay.
what it did in half them.
Okay. It does once more. Like kind of eventually rip through the bindings to a degree. But you manage to wrap it enough so it doesn't fully like start to invest in you. But you can see it's just eating through it. It has no problem eating through the bindings. It will eat anything. It doesn't seem to have any issues with doing through that. What about you, Patrick?
Just anchor my arm to a post. Anything that
just like wrap it around a post, and that's that. Okay. All right. When you wake up in the morning, the mouth is still where it's supposed to be. It hasn't harmed you. Your arm is likely fairly numb, as it's very uncomfortable, so you're kind of stiff for the day, but nothing that'll last. This is an extreme and uncomfortable inconvenience, but it is essential. Otherwise, it will eat you in the night. Like it will start to devour you. Okay. So morning has come. You all have reset your daily sand. The sun begins to start coming through some of the windows and such. What do you guys want to do? You don't hear any sounds of anybody else in the house. You know where the grandmother's suite is.
I have a little bit of housekeeping before we get into it. Now that I've reset my daily sand, I wasn't able to find this in the rules, but does that affect either the underlying or the indefinite that she has now?
You are, I think, hang on one sec. I
have both, but I don't know if, and one of them was triggered by losing like a chunk of sand at a time, so I don't know if that ties to daily sand at all.
Yeah, so your underlying insanity is essentially putting you in a fragile state of mind is sort of the idea. And so any further loss of sand is essentially going to trigger bouts of madness to you. And then indefinite is the thing that is going to require you to have some kind of treatment, psychological treatment and such. I would say, considering you're still trapped on the island, I would say both of those are still in play.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
Well, actually, I think your bout of madness, maybe I rolled for it. Hang on. No, that was for your bout of madness. Never mind. That was not for the underlying. Okay. All right. So what's the plan? What's the idea?
Rabbi says deliveries only come maybe a couple fortnights.
I would like to ask her if she knows of any way off the island. Like, do they have anywhere they go regularly? How do they go, if yes?
You're asking the grandmother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Every indication you've gotten from the grandmother, she hasn't left the island in a very, 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 very long time. She doesn't even really leave her area very often. And the only time she did in this case was because of the fighting inside the house. All that she knows was that there are occasionally strangers come and deliver stuff. And the only reason she's still alive is because she kind of played stupid, played dumb. She doesn't have any knowledge of how to get off. No. If she did, she would have gotten off long ago.
And Shyma will say to them then, looks like we just need to make a raft then. That boathouse doesn't need to stay standing. We can just use pieces of the boathouse.
We can do that. We could survey the shoreline, see if there's any islands nearby.
Yes. And we know the direction from which Thapi came, so at least we have a general direction of where to go.
To a point.
Yeah,
to a point. Okay. So, and then, so Patrick, you said you're going to be kind of scouting the coastline. You're going to just do like a walk around the island. Okay. Shyma, are you going with them?
I am. Okay. The intention is to build a raft from the contents of the boathouse.
Okay. Then Bev, what is it you're doing?
Since you said it would take like a day, I presumed today would be the rest of the time that she'd be reading the journal.
So you're still kind of so you're just sort of crunching down inside the laboratory. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Shyma, if you're trying to start like piecing together a raft, right? There's essentially 2 roles I'm going to want to do this, and it's going to kind of determine how long it takes you and the quality of the raft. One is survival, and one is mechanical repair.
Okay.
Mechanical repair is because you're piecing together something that's not quite a tool, but it's essentially it's basic crafting.
Decent mechanical repair, so that is great. Yeah. I have a craft survival, but
yeah. The issue is that everything here is waterlogged and decrepit, and it's a question of trying to figure out like what tools are going to break on you, what wood and substances.
Who built a fucking raft? Like, this, you know?
It's true. It's a fair question.
It's not fucking Tom Hanks in Castaway. Like, it took him a couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Mechanical repair.
Yeah.
Mechanical repair. 69.
Nice.
I am going to spend the 19 luck.
Okay. Good deal. And then give me your survival as well.
Okay. I'm going to take 2 audience boost, please, to make that a little better.
Sounds good.
Fuck my survival. Is it any? Survival any?
Yeah, that's fine. I don't think you have any, so I think you're probably going to... I mean, I don't think you have any focus.
I have swim and track and
no, that's something... Those are different. You basically have a 30% chance, so...
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And I'll
with your boosts.
76. Fail.
Okay. Fail. Okay. So I'm basically treating the survival role as the idea of like piecing together what is the appropriate like materials to gather from like whether it's the boathouse or the jungle or some combination of the two, and then mechanical repair is like crafting it together so that it's like seaworthy. So I'm going to say that today you are spending your time collecting materials, piecing it together. I'll say even Ankana can probably help you if you want, as when you start talking about who builds a raft, and she's like, I've built a raft before in my...
wonderful.
So she like mutters with, and she kind of looks at you strangely, and she maybe second guesses hanging out with you instead of walking around the beach with Patrick. Patrick, I would like from you a 2 things. You can give me a spot hidden and a listen. And this is all, by the way, I'm treating this as like hours. This isn't just like one chance. And this is like the whole circumference of the whole beach.
You want both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
Okay. Spot hidden is a 56. I rolled 26.
Okay.
So that's a hard
success.
65 on the listen. I rolled 42. Regular.
Okay. And so is it regular pass on the listen?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're specifically trying to find like some way. Are you just sort of looking
at the coastline, see if anything active in the ocean, anything far away that we can see?
Okay. You don't see signs of any boats that seem to come anywhere near. With your spot hidden, with your hard spot hidden, I will say that you could see at a very far distance what looks like there's definitely craft on the water. Some off to the north, but none of them seem. They all give a massively wide berth to the island. None of them get anywhere close. Like they couldn't potentially like shout. Like if you would, there would be no way like you would hear, like they would hear you. But you could see them. You could see that it's not like it's complete and empty ocean. But in this day, there's certainly some. You notice that to the south it is all water, and you can see that I think it's as you get to the eastern side of the island, you actually can see land. And you start to piece together where you're at. And you think that is likely the Siamese mainland. It's a ways off, While it's potentially possible you could swim there, that is extremely life-threatening. And it would be very dangerous, and especially for you and Shyma and Ankana, with your mouths, it would be even more difficult, as every time you take a stroke when you're swimming, it could potentially be causing some issue. But that is most likely the direction that if you get your raft together, you would probably want to go. Then, with your listen roll, right as you're turning around and finishing this route, right around midday or so, you hear a sound that starts to float over the air. That it's not the water washing up. It's not the sounds of insects, which are buzzing significantly, or the sounds of the fronds and the bush and stuff like that, splashing around the breeze. But you hear a this low, steady hum, buzz. You look out, thinking maybe it's Tawi's boat once more returning, but you don't see anything on the water. But then with your heart's success, there's this tiny little reflection of light, and you see up in the sky a plane flying overhead.
I'll run back to Shyma. It's a plane. It's a plane route. They fly above.
I'm going to veer as quickly as I can, make big, H, like a big H with sticks on the beach.
Okay.
And ask for help with the lady who's
absolutely.
I'm free. Thank you.
Yeah. Ankana will absolutely. She sees it too, and she gets very excited as so the three of you are outside, and are all of you kind of trying to create some kind of signal. Bev, I know you're inside. Okay.
Like smoke, big symbol, anything.
You're going to try to, so you're sitting you're trying to piece together some bonfire or fire as fast as you can, and Shyma and Ankana are trying to in the beach or in the trying to create some kind of H or whatever, or help, or she suggests a different letter as it could be a Siamese. It could be
Which is fine by me. I'm fine to do it. Whatever letter she wants.
Okay. Bev, inside, we're continuing to say you're just reading. And let me see if there's anything else I can give you.
Does she have any diary entries of how she managed her mouth add-ons?
You can tell in her journals that she refers to them with great reverence. She treats them well. She feeds them. She lets them feast on her kills. When she's feeding them the flesh of her hunts, she feels invigorated. She feels like this is a way of honoring things. There is nothing to suggest that she struggled. She doesn't seem to write any overly personal entries to say, my shoulder was hurting today because I didn't get enough sleep because I, pinned my arm to the wall. She doesn't treat them like a burden, but rather a blessing. Yeah.
Okay.
It's another day of you continuing to pour through her journals and realizing she never once looked for a way to get rid of them, never once cared to get rid of them, and was quite satisfied to have them. Okay. I would say maybe Shyma had probably mentioned this, that you were looking for a couple different tomes to collect for Cyrus Lanfear, tomes that didn't necessarily seem 100% associated with maybe any of your investigations. Yeah. But I would say that if Bev is still in the library, we can say maybe she sets aside a few.
I start pulling some. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to put any real intention behind it, just stuff that looks kind of old.
Absolutely.
The only intention.
You get one. So Bev, I'll say you set aside 3. Again, these don't necessarily have anything. They don't align with the stuff that you've been researching, but they still seem to deal with the mythos of some kind. One of them is in Latin, and you can see it is the Grimorium Serpentis Luminis. So it's something along a grimoire for a serpent of light or something like that. So you set that aside. It seems to talk about various rituals which maybe caught your eye at first, but then you realize it doesn't really seem to have anything to do with mouths and such, and you don't really see the names. But you do flip through and you see there's various entity names that are referenced, things like Cthulhu and something called Yog-Sothoth, and there's a whole chapter on like these aquatic beings of some kind as well. Then there's another one that you get written in Arabic, Prophecies of the Forgotten, and it seems to be written by an alchemist of some kind, and it is sort of stitched together kind of grotesquely with what you think is skin. It is sort of stands out. The pages are very yellow, very brittle, but you're able to kind of set this aside with a quick kind of look. You don't see anything that maybe particularly stands out to you. Or maybe you even find like two copies of it, two versions of it that allows you to kind of keep one for yourself. And then you get a third one also written in Latin that seems to be about, it seems to be a woman's diary that is sort of documenting her sort of descent into madness of some kind. And when I say this, you're not getting like skim. Like this is just that you're looking at it and you kind of like scan like the first page or two, see if there's an abstract, but in some cases these are sort of personal things. So you set these things aside. And so just keep track of those. And that'll be that.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you all to tap out for a sec. I like this tap out stuff. This is great. It's great. Makes it so much easier. All right. We're on the plane. Okay, so you're on the plane. It's three of you. Will, you were saying there was something you wanted to talk to old Frank about.
Yeah. Basically, Will would have, like, when there was a quiet moment, or even when we're flying, because I assume it takes a few minutes to get over there.
Mm-hmm. More than a few, but yeah.
Loman's taken care of?
Yeah, I did what Miss Wynn asked.
Exactly what she asked?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want you to think that I'm a pilot. I deliver people from point A to point B. I'll help if I need to. My fighting days are long past. I'm not murdering a man in cold blood. I am, however, stripping him of all of his belongings, blindfolding him, and dropping him in the middle of nowhere in the middle of a winter night. And we'll see if he finds a place. I am going to do that. And maybe I'm going to tie him to a tree. But
that's
no,
the Frank I know and love.
Actually kill him. Don't worry. I don't think he's going to be bothering us anytime soon. Okay. So you guys are in the plane. Frank's flying. You guys leave out of Don Moing Airport. You head south for a bit. You, at one point, fly over a familiar coastline village. Pattaya, right down there. You see it. You start drifting over into the water. There are a couple different islands here and there. You see there's ships, boats on the water, fishing boats mostly. And you can tell just by looking overhead, not just by the map. I'm going to give you credit because you did a bunch of research into Kokruk Island that you probably have a map as best you can of its location. But yes, you also notice, no, you guys, you made the rules, so it's fine. And so you're able to navigate for a bit. And the other thing you notice, I would say the two of you looking down, one out of one side, one out of the other, it's a single seat cockpit. So you're not like up in the cockpit with him, but you are basically looking out of windows on either side of the plane. Is that there is a large radius of boats that just do not seem to get very close to this one particular island. I would like both of you to give me a spot hidden as you fly over.
I will take some audience dice on this. 2 of them.
I'm rolling this straight.
And I want to say that while he's flying relatively low, he's not clipping trees in sails. That's not how low this is.
Right,
that would be very alarming if that were to happen.
Okay. My assumption is that we were a bit higher than that.
Yeah.
So with the audience dice, I needed a 65. I rolled a 68. I will spend the 3 luck to get the regular success.
Okay, so regular for Will and Marie.
I rolled a 65 under 72.
Okay, so both of you got regular successes.
So, I am willing to dump some luck, if not some, to dump some luck.
I will tell you, if you do get down to a hard success, you will get more information. Yes.
Okay, so I need a little bit of help with them. So I need to get down to, I rolled a 65 and I need to get down to 36.
Okay. That's 29.
Okay, I will spend the 29 luck.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so you start flying over this island. First, he's actually kind of doing kind of a roundabout of it, and he doesn't get immediately over top of it. He wants to kind of get a little lower, kind of scout it out. The two of you can tell that it is it's not an enormous island by any stretch, and it doesn't look like there is a lot of territory. Mostly it looks like a fairly low canopy jungle. So you don't see like tree cover is particularly high. It's fairly low. Lots of vegetation, rocky. You can see that there is a rocky beach that surrounds most of it. But both of you would notice that the one sort of landmark that is very visible is there is a large mansion or estate. And you can see it is probably the highest point of the island for sure. And it kind of overlooks everything. And I would say that both of you can tell that it does not appear to be in a particularly good condition. You're flying over top of this island that looks absolutely overrun. The roof, there's maybe you catch a glimpse of like some kind of skylight that is kind of collapsed. You see what looks like a boathouse that is missing half of its roof. You see a rickety dock that has no boats attached to it. Along one of the shores, you can see that there is a grouping of a few, there's some sort of debris. You can't quite distinguish exactly what it is. It definitely looks like a abandoned, rundown island that is no longer cared for or kept for. You know enough that the Siricon family has had this in its possession for 100 years, given to them by the King of Siam. Mm-hmm. But you also know that it's been years since anybody in Pattaya has seen anyone from the island, and this place is in extraordinary disrepair. And it looks completely dead. There doesn't look like there's any boats coming or going. And Marie, that's when you notice something. You notice that on one of the beaches, just south of the actual building, you can see there's movement. You can see that there's two people kind of moving about. You can't, obviously you're too high up to be able to discern them, but you can see they're moving about. They're trying, you're not sure if they're like drawing something in the sand or the grime, or if they're moving things, but they're like trying to create some kind of visible thing. And then you also notice that there is a tree on fire. And it's just like the smoke's coming up at this point. And that's what you get with your hard success, Marie.
No, look. Do you see the building? To the south of the building, there's a tree on fire. Look.
Oh, yeah. But why are they burning a tree?
I don't. Everything else looks so abandoned. But we know from Mexico City that sometimes there's things underground. But Frank, can you do a circle around and come back at this a different angle? See the smoke?
Yes. Yeah. He calls back. Yeah, I can do that. I can get it pretty low if you want.
Not too low. We don't want to get too much attention.
There's someone that looked like they're trying to write something in sand, and there's a tree on fire. So I would say as close as you could safely get.
Okay. So he's like, all right, hang on. And he starts to bank pretty hard, and you start to dip down. I'll go ahead and tap my head here really fast. You guys can stay.
Oh. What?
Oh.
Patrick and Shyma, as you two are trying to do various things here, Shyma and Ankana are like piecing together, trying to draw, like grind stuff in the dirt and move some like fronds and such a way. Patrick, you're just like lighting shit on fire, and like something just. You guys watch as this plane suddenly banks, gets lower, and starts to get very, very, very low to the point where it's just a couple dozen feet off the ground. And
stopping and like physically.
And Patrick, you, because you had rolled so well on your spot hidden, as the plane gets down, you notice as it flies past and it flies past pretty quickly. It's not like a helicopter or anything. It's just still moving pretty fast, but you got a hard success. You see the lance along the side of the nose, and you know that to be the plane that Janet Winston Rogers, your true love, just kidding, that Frank flies. It's the Silver Lance.
Oh my god, it's Frank. Frank! Mr. Kurtz!
Yes, you shout out as you're running after it, shouting up. He can't hear you. He can't hear you.
That is not going to stop her.
And as you guys just start running down the beach, Will, Marie, you get lower in the plane. You can look out, and that's when there you see Shyma. Shyma's a hard person to miss. She's a very tall, muscular woman who is in rags at best. And then you see Patrick, who does not look nearly as dapper as he normally does. You don't see Bev, but you do see a third person kind of running with them, but like alongside Shyma, waving, doesn't seem to be threatening in some ways, but you do see three people down here. And Frank calls back, "Is that them? Is that them?"
Yes.
That's them.
Yes.
That's them. Is there anywhere to land?
It's an island. No, there's no, I need a runway. This is not, this ain't built for water landings.
Circle it several times so they know that we saw.
Okay. And he continues to circle and spin and round he goes. And Shyma and Patrick, you see this at some point, Bev, I'm going to say you hear the sound of a freaking plane buzzing the tower, essentially. And you like the shakes of the estate start to happen, and you can feel, and you know that something's going on outside.
Yeah, that's when Bev would join the others.
Okay, so you come out a little bright, and the rest of you see Bev start to descend from the estate down that slope towards the docks onto the rocky beach. On one of the passes, Will and Marie, you see a fourth figure, blonde woman, that you probably at this point identify as Bev.
Hell, they are alive.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? And Marie is just like happy crying, but she is like so absolutely relieved to see them, and just keeps almost like hitting Will, like, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Don't leave them. We have to. How are we going to get down there?
It was my idea to get the plane. Frank, take us back. We got to get a boat.
Okay. And so like he flies around, and at one point, Shyma, Bev, Patrick, you see like as he like takes this long turn, kind of like out westward a bit, and then comes which is out like over the ocean, and then he starts coming back. You see him kind of like waddle the wings a bit, and then he flies over top of the island eastward back towards the mainland of Siam.
What does that mean? That they see us to leave it?
They saw us. They have to have seen us. They have to have seen us.
Yeah, I think that's what the wobble means.
I don't know what a plane means.
Kearns
They crashed for all I know.
won't leave us. And Kearns is a better
Well,
pilot than that.
Let's get the books. Let's get the map. Let's get Ruffy. Let's get everybody ready, and we can leave. We can leave as soon as they come back. Let's get everybody and everything together. And we can leave as soon as they get here.
Do we set the library on fire before we leave?
There's so much to learn there.
No,
But if we're not staying...
there's and she looks up. No, Miss Price, we're not this side. No, we're gonna come back later. We'll come back here and we have more time. We're not setting... Dr. Key, you of all people should know why that's not something we should do.
I think we've seen enough by now to know the dangers of this information.
No,
and the amount of
that is-
years that she's had to collect it, that could take me years to go through it.
I will not let you burn down that library.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Bev, I need you to roll a sand test. If you recall, Bev, your drive is scholarship.
It is.
And when you start taking major steps, like this sounds like this, instead of pursuing that drive. This is how we're like translating Trail of Cthulhu drives and stuff like that, for those of you wondering.
45. That is a success.
All right, 1 point of sand, sand loss minimum. But nonetheless, like this is literally anathema to your drive. Like there is a massive treasure trove of mythos and occult books that Savagery has collected here, and all seem to be feeding her knowledge about this situation. And you're actively, and that's totally fine. Can keep playing that. I just wanted you to know that like this is something that is going to mechanically trigger at this point. Okay.
Yes, me as a person, I love books, but we can't take them all with us.
If you make me stop you, I will stop you.
I'm not going to do it without consensus, obviously. But...
No, I think you're right, Dr. Key. What was I thinking? No one should see this. It's horrors.
You too, Mr. Brace. This is not something to burn down. We leave it here, and that is fine. There's nobody else here on this island.
But
Yeah,
there's...
but people know of it. They'll come looking.
Okay, well then we need to make sure that we come and take a look at this.
There's only so many of us, though, Shyma. We can't keep eyes on Mexico. And in the journal, even, it reports that Dominguez was his secondhand man, and they were trying to find something in Merida. So who knows?
If you burn down this library, that is the end of my work with you. So you decide if that is something you are willing
this
to do.
Is your hard stop.
Yes, it is. My
Are you unable to see?
My mother was here 4 hours ago, and she couldn't understand why I was here. I don't even know why she was here. I'm
Shyma,
willing to accept that I don't need to go looking for her, but
Shyma,
do not make me give this up, because I have had to lie to my parents to even be here.
Shyma, your mom wouldn't be here in Bangkok.
If you burn that library down, I'm not coming with you for the rest of the trip.
It wouldn't be killing your mother.
If you burn that library down, I'm not coming with you for the rest of
We'll
the trip.
speak of this later. This is dangerous information, and we can't guard it the entire time.
Fine.
Think on it.
Okay.
Stalk to the library
That's
to do what she had originally said. Get the books and Ravi and everything.
So, plane crew, you...
Like I shouldn't have heard that. Like I need to take the earbuds out. That
No,
was
it's
too
fine.
personal and awkward.
It's fine.
You would have heard about it when you land.
Yeah. So, they've been through some things. So Will and Marie, you land back at the Don Moing Airport. Again, no issues. Everything's fine. Everything's business as usual. No issues whatsoever. How do you want to go about getting a boat? Do you just want to rent one yourself? Or are you looking to just like...
I would say rent one, even buy one. Like as long as it can hold 6 people. Like we have Daniel Lohman's money, right?
You do, but who had it? And I think it might have possibly been taken from you because you
Left
had
in
it,
the Oriental.
then you all got taken to the sewer. There's a decent chance you don't have it anymore.
Okay, that's fair.
Or did you go back to the church, or did you bring it back to the hotel?
I can't say for sure.
Give
Will
me-
wasn't
give
the
me
one
a-
who had it in
give
the
me a
first
luck
place.
test.
It would have been
Let's just say a luck test. Luck test, we'll see if you've got Daniel Loman's money. Either one of
me
you
or
can roll, I
Marie,
don't care.
because Marie would have been the one to have it.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have 22 luck.
Well, that's
Because
7
I
more than I
wanted-
got.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, no, 52.
Okay. So essentially, this is basically going to dig into if you're literally buying a boat, this is just going to dig into your cash. And your
Yeah, I was
spending
just
levels.
saying whatever's fastest. As long as we can get a boat immediately and it seats
And we're
6
not
people.
looking to
We
bring
saw
anyone
4 there,
with
right?
us. Yeah,
Okay.
we're not looking to have a conversation with anybody about where we're going with it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, like we're just
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
Just 2 random foreigners, looking to buy a boat in Pattaya.
I'm not going to belabor it, but I will say that we'll kind of look into perhaps saying that your cash has been dipped into the two of you. It's possible that Janet Winston Rogers will refund this, of course, depending on her mood when you tell her all the wonderful things that happened in Bangkok. But we'll say for now, this is you dipping into your stash, your personal stashes. And I'm going to say that you are able to get it, but you probably don't arrive until nighttime, as it's hours. You fly back because you guys hit there around lunchtime or so, like midday. You buy a boat, you negotiate for a while. Your language barrier probably doesn't net you a particularly good price, so you probably get taken, and you basically probably exude this desperation, and then you don't want questions asked, and so you find yourselves forking over probably way more than you need to get some
pay a premium for that.
Yeah. some kind of boat that is some sort of fishing boat. It's reeks of fish, blood everywhere. You got hooks, you got cages, and you start getting out on the water. Again, I don't want to belabor you guys. I don't want to play you guys getting lost in the water. I'll say Frank goes with you, probably a more capable navigator. Do either of you have navigate? Will, you've got
I have a
navigate.
decent navigate. I'm 60.
Give me a navigation roll, then,
Nice.
Will.
I've got
See if I can
30,
upgrade
but
it.
Will's definitely better.
Critical fail, and
25 under 60, Jeff. That's a hard success.
you are able,
Nice.
despite the difference in height, despite the difference in light, despite the difference in mobility, you're able to find your way back to the cursed island of Kokruk. And Shyma and Bev and Patrick, you see lights out on the dock. You hear the sounds of the boat. But instead of Tawi stepping off, you see Will, you see Marie, and you see Frank. And as you guys meet somewhere like on that island, somewhere on the shore, similar to how you had recently met Bev, Shyma and Patrick, are you? We don't have to say exactly yet, but are you hiding? You know what? Or are you?
No.
Okay.
Not at the moment.
Okay. Will and Marie, as you come up close and you see them, torches, lanterns lit, hugs may be exchanged, etc. Bev is in not great shape. You can see like she's got a terrible welt and not great, and like it's still kind of bleeding. Shyma looks well, very wounded, scars, stab wounds. You can tell. Patrick as well. We forgot that Patrick was in the death fights, basically. But then you also notice that they have 2 other kinds of wounds on their body. As you can see on one of them, I think it's Shyma on her hand and Patrick on his
Her
arm.
wrist and Patrick back where it watches.
Your eyes are drawn as you hear, and you see these small, gnarly, gnashing, seeping mouths that you have seen, at least Will, not so much, but Marie, significantly throughout the course of your investigation, on their persons, on their flesh. Both of you make sand tests, please.
gosh.
Well, y'all could have hid that from us. You know, that would have been the polite thing to do.
So excited you guys are back together. It's so exciting.
Shit, we are.
So
I am so
happy.
very excited.
You did it.
I'm-
I
did it.
failed. 55 over 48.
Oh dear. Marie.
99.
Oh God, that's not good. Will,
Nope.
2 points of sand loss, and Marie, 4. I'm just gonna give you max. I'm just gonna go Delta Green rules. Same with max. It's 1d4.
Okay.
At least it was on 5. That's good.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys are all standing. Boats behind you, Frank's behind you, and there's this dark, foreboding mansion. There, would we say grandmother and Ankana are here as well? Ankana for sure. Would be here.
I would have loved to invite them. Like
Yeah.
if they're staying, it's because they've opted to stay.
Yeah, they're here with you. So you can see there's 2 other women here, both Siamese. One elderly, and you can see she's got like a kind of a shawl or something kind of wrapped around her head. Her eyes are kind of glossy and foggy. One of them a little darker than the other. You can tell that she's not quite. She's trying to track the voices that as they speak, but isn't able to. The other one, short Siamese woman, young, probably late 20s or so. But you can see that on her leg, which she has kind of extended awkwardly out to the side, she has one of those mouths that is kind of gnawing and gnashing away. And she's like trying to like wrap this piece of dried leather or something around it to keep it at bay. I'm going to turn it over to you guys.
The hell is that?
You found us. You found me.
Salvatore put them on us, and Mr. Bryce killed her, and we'll tell you everything, but we should go reach this Salvatore's grandmother, and this, we were being hunted.
And Marie's just kind of
Get on the boat. Get on the
without
boat.
any
Is there anyone
decorum,
else
is just
here?
hugging everyone.
Only
Don't
us.
hug too close.
I'm trying very hard to keep my hand away.
Marie,
Remember,
are you hugging Shyma and Patrick?
I would say I'm just kind of RPing that there would have been lots of hugs at first.
Oh, I know.
And then when she sees the mouths,
Okay.
then she kind of jumps back a bit.
Give me 1 dodge test.
Sure. Yeah, no problem.
And then you failed your sand, so you go in for another, right?
Kind of liked it. There you go.
I'll take 1 audience. It's still 45. Like it's still
Yep.
a less than 50 chance.
It's not going to kill you in 1 bite. Calm down.
I rolled
I got to
a
roll anyways.
50, so I'll spend
Yeah, it
the
does.
5 luck to get it to. I'll spend the 5 luck to get it to 45 straight 45.
You feel something drip against your skin, and then you hear the howl. That's that sort of like, yeah, and you're able to pull away at the last second from, we'll say, Shyma, and you can see Shyma's even trying to keep pulling it away as well. So the two of you just kind of like repel like magnets, right against each other.
What? Oh, no. And Maria is immediately remembering the story that we heard of the local who had the mouths on him when he came back from the island and died. And so she's going from just being so relieved to see them, and she jumps back. No, that's do you all have them? That's very bad.
I don't think Ravi has any.
I don't have one either.
Three of us. Can we go? Can we leave, please? We
get in
can
the
talk
boat.
about all of this when.
Is there anyone else on the island?
Right.
No.
You're right.
Not that we know of.
Maybe my mother, but me, probably not.
Your mother is on the island?
Probably not. She's probably not on the island.
Marie just looks over to Bev. Like,
Bev just shrugs because this is.
She had a bit of a breakdown. No, his mother's not here.
Is there anything else we need?
Of course not.
There's an entire fucking library that we unfortunately cannot fit on this boat.
You have a few things, right?
We do. And
Yeah,
she'll
but that doesn't
gesture to the
cover
boats.
everything that they
No, it
have
doesn't.
here.
It doesn't. And that's. You're exact. Thank you, Doctor. I'm so glad you were seeing it this way.
Well, I think
Okay,
you're right. I think
let's
we should
get on the
leave
boat.
very quickly.
We
Yes,
can
you're
come
right.
back and get more if we need to.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
let's get everyone off the island.
Yes, let's make sure we remember where this is so we can come back.
I've got it marked on a map. It's all right.
You look familiar, boy. You're Bill?
Will.
No, this is...
Oh, Will,
Frank.
yeah. We spent a night in Bangkok. It's been a while. I can't believe you come back.
Yeah, I'd give you a
I
hug,
think
but
just real bad at names. It's what we have learned.
let's just get on the boat, and that's fine.
All right. You all get on the boat and you pilot it away, leaving the darkness of Kruk behind you. And you eventually make it back to the mainland without any real issue. Again, nothing kind of stops you in the night. Let me ask you, what the fuck are you doing next? You have a grandmother of Savitri with you. You've got this other woman, 3 of you got mouths growing on you. You've got some mythos tomes. There's a crap load back there. What's your plan? What are we doing?
Is Tawi dead?
No, Tawi's still roaming around.
Yeah,
He's
he
been going to
dropped,
the island
we
still?
dropped off Dr. Key onto the island.
Yeah. He had me in a dog or like a fish cage or something of some kind, and like I was cramped in there, and we waited for a while before he just left me there. But I guess he's been making like regular deliveries of people like 1 or 2 times. She looks to Patrick a fortnight about.
Lord Ramsey told us.
Like to perform her worship by putting these mouths on people and having her mouth hunt them.
And she had
And
a
I tried to experiment with her body after Patrick and after Mr. Price killed, but it didn't. They didn't die when she died, so probably not that. But when I amputated her, it didn't transfer. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe part of it is amputation.
Marie
I'm really
continues
starting
just
to believe
look
the
at
breakdown
Bev,
story.
Like,
yeah, everyone is just kind of like staring at Shyma like, what the actual fuck?
Okay, so Tawi is still alive. Loman is still alive, and he's loose. He got away.
What do you mean he
We-
got away?
He got away is the bottom line.
we
He's
needed to find all of you, and we only have
we
so
didn't have the manpower.
many people here.
Put a bullet in his head.
So now the question is, do we go back and burn the place down, take what we need? We can't leave it for Tawi and Loman. One of them's going to step up. Probably not Loman, let's be honest.
Yeah, we spoke about getting rid of the place. I think it's
I
for the
was-
best.
Reading Savitri's notes, and she kept so the mouths. You know how there was a large mouth at Trammell's? Well, it's not on the island. And she specifically wrote how she keeps it separate and it's involved with the cult. So I think it's in the fighting ring, and that works out with what we've read before, like the bodies and, because all of this here is been about consuming flesh. And then we can't leave that either.
Mexico
Not
City
getting back in
went,
that fighting ring.
No, Mexico City went poorly. Coming to Bangkok has gone horribly wrong very quickly. We've been towards the tea shop twice. It's gone very, very badly both times. Are we here to
I'm not.
gather
I can't.
information, or are we here to
Maybe
save
we
every
can
place we
just
go and burn it down?
take a little bit of a rest before we decide what we're
We
going
need
to
to-
do.
Yeah, we need to consolidate what we know. But I mean, the bottom line is we're here to. This is bigger than just getting information at this point.
As long as we can keep Mr. Price safe, obviously he can do what needs to be done. So we just need to keep Mr. Price safe.
Savitri marked in her notes that something catastrophic could happen to the world with what's happening at the fight ring. Or with that mouth, or I'd have to reread.
What does Patrick have to do with it?
You killed Savitri.
You did, Patrick?
Oh, right, yes. You've heard Savitri, right? In the notes we read. She was on the island.
Yes.
Fighting us, trying to kill us. I took her out one night.
It's
Not for dinner. Oh, I killed her.
it's good that she's dead, but why do we? Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want you to die either. But why is Shyma obsessed with you now? What's this protect Mr. Price mean?
No, it's just that, if we need to destroy these things, then he's the one that can do the destroying, obviously.
Okay.
I think what you're saying is just finds me capable, like all of us.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
Of course,
mean,
we've all shown ourselves to be capable in one way,
Sure.
but we've tried to take out or damage leadership everywhere we've gone, and you killed Savitri. So that would be what we've done in other places. We try our best to take out whoever's in charge and disrupt some things. But Shyma, Mr. Price is a barber.
maybe he was a barber. He's more than a barber now.
I mean no offense, Mr. Price, but at the end of the day, we are here to assess the connection between Janet Winston Rogers and her family's estate. And
But isn't
what
it gone
happened?
beyond that now at this point? Can you really tell me that we can sit back and watch as these horrors are unleashed upon the world that no one else knows of? We're just going to let it continue to perpetuate and get worse?
we are doing what we can to be disruptive, are we not?
Disruption only goes for so long. Who's to say we killed Savitri, but Will said, someone else could easily step up. And apparently our work in Mexico isn't over. Dominguez was Brooks's second-hand man, his lieutenant. And he's off gallivanting, looking for something off the peninsula. Potentially Golgoroth.
I know I haven't been part of this group for very long, and I kind of gesture towards Shyma and Patrick's mouths. That's some of the weirdest shit I've seen. I know you guys have said you've seen some weird stuff, but this is new territory for me. But I can tell you that Tawi fella, he didn't seem like the kind to just quit. And I'm not saying that we go into those fight pits, because if we do, we're not coming out. There's been too many times, but I think if you're saying that there's a whole bunch of books and libraries and stuff like that, whether he's the reading type or not, he'll find someone to read for him under the blade. I don't think we should leave anything, because he's going to want to step up. He's going to be the kind of guy that wants to be the boss.
Only if he knows Savitρι's dead.
He'll find out sooner or later.
Let's get him before he does.
I don't think any of us are in the condition of fighting right now.
No, but we will be tomorrow.
Not tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not saying we go
Okay, maybe
kill
day
him
after
either.
tomorrow.
what if we unload the boat, and I'll go back. Maybe Patrick, if you're the most capable, apparently, you go back with me and point me around. I'll start a fire. We just walk away.
It's Ankana and Ravi here. Your family, what were you doing here?
Well, Ravi will remind you that she's the grandmother of Savitri, who was kept imprisoned on the island for years as Savitri systematically murdered her entire family. So she'll remind you of that.
Good to know.
Again, these are all things that the three of them, at the very least, Shyma and Patrick have heard. Beverly, maybe not as much of, but has gotten at least the gist of it. Ankana, when you finally ask her about herself, she says that she basically works at the French embassy, and that she is, or she was attached to somebody at the French embassy, and she was like bringing these French foreigners around, showing them the town. And one of the other attachés and such was what got her to go to these death fights, and she fell in, and she survived, at least for a little while, and then they brought her to the island.
Not sure if you can head back with a thing on your leg. Maybe stick with us for a bit.
It dawns on her that that's actually true. Like, you can see, like, she was finally feeling better, and like she sees, like, I'm gonna imagine this conversation you guys have been having, by the way, is on
We're
the boat.
driving. Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's on the boat. Otherwise, there's a lot of animated stuff going on, right? So I'm gonna say this is on the boat, and her eyes like lit up at the sight of the Siam mainland. But as you say this, like, it dawns on her that you're not wrong. Like, she looks down at her leg, and then she looks at you, and then like her eyes get downcast, and she says, "I suppose you're right. I can't bring this to my brothers and sisters. They cannot. Better they think I'm dead."
When we were in California, the gentleman who lived next door to Trammell, didn't he calcify one?
Yes, I remember Pastor finding one.
I wonder if we could replicate that?
You have Trammell's works. It's maybe in there.
You
read it.
It wasn't Trammell. He prayed over it, and he put an actual cross in its mouth. I wonder if we could do something similar.
We won't try anything about now. I don't think there's much info on it.
It feels as if we have things to do to make sure that you all are safe. We've heard stories of people that have escaped the island, and those mouths were very dangerous for them. We need to figure out if we've gotten all of the information that we can from here and not dilly-dally. We have multiple people who know who we are, who've been able to track us. We're very, very, very dangerous.
We're all together now. We're all alive, more or less in one piece. I think it's time to burn the place down and go. You killed Siri. You cut the head off the snake. Let's deny what's left to Tawi in Loman.
Yeah, I agree. We should be destroying all this.
But we should heal up first. We keep running in and just trickling in, and we're not at 100%.
No, I'm not saying we go to the fighting pits at all. I'm not saying that we fight at all.
I think we have to leave that be. That if I don't know of such things, but Mr. Sawyer and Mr. Kearns, you may know of ways to fly over and burn a building on an
Probably
island.
not in our plane. You would need a.
It's
Miss Wynn, it's a passenger
a different-
airplane. It's not a bomber.
Oh, okay. But doing something like that here on the island would be far easier than doing something in the middle of a city. There's
That's what
so
I'm saying.
much
We
there.
we make sure that no one else gets those books. Shyma, if there's a couple of them you want me to grab
Wait.
real quick, I can put them in a bag
No,
and
no,
we can run
I
out.
thought we were talking about burning down the friggin' honey shop. Are you suggesting burning down the library? We're not burning down the library.
well, the honey shop isn't where the mouth is. It's down in, isn't it?
It's not in Kokrak. It's not on Kokrak. It's somewhere on the mainland, and it probably in the honey shop.
It's in the sewers, right?
Well, underneath the honey shop. But either way, it has nothing to do with the library.
I'm saying that we take what we can from the library and we deny Tawi the rest.
I'm suggesting we kill Tawi so he's not a problem and we have access to the library later.
Shyma, you gotta. I know you had a bad day, and trust me, I get it. I was hit by a car just 2 days ago, but you gotta see the big picture here. Look around. None of us can fight right
seeing
now.
the big picture. No, you can't fight right now.
None
I
of
am
us
bigger
should
and
be
smarter
fighting.
than most of you. And
Shyma,
you can
look
see
like
that
death
I'm bigger.
warmed
Just because
over.
you can't see that I'm smart doesn't make that not true.
I don't believe anyone here is saying that you're not smart. Will is
That is
absolutely
not
correct.
Yes, I am, Miss Wynn. So I'm sorry, but you are wrong in this. You are all
I don't-
wrong about this.
we need to make sure that we are alive to do anything further.
Burn down the honey shop and we kill Tawi and we can do whatever we need to do in the fragrant honey shop.
That will
With
do
Tawi,
nothing.
with Loman, with any of them.
Burning down the honey shop will do nothing. You said it yourself. It's the sewers. It's the
Sewers underneath the honey
path.
shop.
It's we traveled there. It took us a very long time. It was not in a trapdoor beneath the honey shop. If it were that simple, then that could be a plan.
What is the
Killing
point
Tawi-
of burn down the library? Just to make sure Tawi doesn't get his hands on it? Tawi
Or
might
anyone else.
probably doesn't even care.
I'm
The
unclear
Trammels,
why we're
the
talking about the
Siricons.
library so much.
So am I. So am I. It feels completely irrelevant.
So our safety is the most important thing because we cannot do anything else if we are not safe. Or are we all at least in agreement, Dr. Key, Mr. Price,
Of
that
course.
our safety is most important?
Well, all of us, yes.
So any choice we make then should be to keep ourselves safe.
We don't need
First
to
and
make any
foremost.
choices right this second. I think things are heated. We're tired. We're injured. Let's rest. Let's ruminate on everything we have come across and learned. And then with bright eyes and, fresh minds, we can make a decision in the morning.
It's a good thing we bought the boat. We don't need to return it.
You bought this boat.
Yeah, we got a great deal. It's like it's leaking and I'm using a bucket to bail it out.
We're very desperate to find all of you so that we could all be safe and be able to leave here.
Gratefully didn't leave us behind.
Of course, we would not leave you
Thought never
behind,
crossed our minds.
Mr. Price.
That's Ashley going, wait a minute. Okay. I don't believe Steven for that
Shyma's
for
just
shit.
glowering at all of them
Yeah.
and not saying anything.
So we'll say then that the boat arrives back on the shore. You find some heavy coats tucked away, and you're brand new. They just left some coats, and you're able to cover up people.
Cut up some tarps.
Yeah, something like that. And you guys get there like literally after midnight. Like this, like you are. It's closer to the next day than it is anything. Like the sun is likely going to be coming up fairly soon. Like this is a very long night of you heading out there. But I'll say as we close down, all of you cover up. Those of you who need to cover up. And you return in the early AM hours, just as the sun is about to rise, to the Trocadero Hotel, where some of you will sleep in a bed that doesn't smell like rot for the first time in quite some time. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to end it there, and we will pick up on that next time.
You
guys are back together.
Holy shit.
I'm
I need
so
some
happy
context.
we're all together.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. You guys made it. Yay, you guys win.
Oh my
Campaign
Marie
over.
was
Yay.
pushing so hard for us to leave Kokruck Island
Such
alone. She
crap.
said we don't need to fly over it. We don't need to do recon. I've got the DMs to prove it.
Hey, good thing we,
We
have
have the
like a
recording
video
to prove
recording
that
that we
is
can
the
go back
case.
and watch.
At this point, you guys are welcome to go back.
and listen.
You
Right?
guys are welcome to go back and
Melissa,
listen. If you
yes
guys
or
want to.
no? Did you say that we should not do the recon? Did you suggest doing something else?
I suggested a possible thing to do while we were waiting for Frank to get back so that we could do the recon.
Yep, sure.
Which one of you, though, brought up the conversation about when are you going to cut? Well, we got to cut your losses at some point.
No. That,
Which one
that
of the two of you brought
wasn't
that
recorded.
up?
That was Frank. That was Frank.
No, it wasn't. Don't you dare. Don't you
Last session
dare.
it was.
Frank was the one who actually wanted to save people. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. Oh, goodness. All right.
Oh,
You guys are all back
goodness.
together, which is great.
We are.
Next
It's
week,
so
we'll
exciting.
pick up and we'll see just what the hell we're doing in Bangkok. If we're staying, if we're staying, and if we are staying, what are we doing? All those wonderful types of things. But that's for next week. For right now, though, we're going to do a couple closing plugs, and we're going to get on out of here. So, Steven, if you wouldn't mind being a little quiet for a second, as Maitreyi is going to tell us where we can find her on the internet.
I am Multiplace Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system content about tabletops that center the GM and player experience.
Fantastic. Wonderful. And if you're listening to this or watching this later, check the description. I'll have everyone's links in there. And Steven, tell us, you're up to something. What is it you're up to?
Yeah, when I'm not lying my
Oh, my.
We
Listen,
lost your sound.
Completely
You
muted.
lost your sound.
When he's not lying,
Yeah.
mute.
You mute your mic.
This guy. Uh-oh.
Yeah. When he's not.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
Hey.
Oh, there you
yep,
go.
there you are.
Oh,
There you
we
are.
go. I didn't actually
Oh.
do anything. I don't know.
I think you're lagging. My friend.
Yeah, internet connection is unstable. I was saying when I'm not lying my butt off to throw Melissa under the bus, I'm working on a Weird West role-playing game. It's called Huckleberry. You can find out more details at huckleberryrpg.com. We got some big updates coming out very soon. I'm very excited about it. And then that's not even our last update. We got even more in the pipeline. I've been writing my little fingers off, and I'm sick of writing, and I'm never going to do it again. No, just kidding. But yeah, we got a lot going on and a lot to check out. So if you're interested in the game, go to the website because it's pretty fun.
Fantastic. Okay. As for what we're doing here, our next stream is on Monday. We're going to be playing some other Escape. You see a couple of people on this stream and that stream. Tuesday we're off still, but we are going to be coming back to Tuesdays later this month, where Kipser is going to be running a game for us. So we'll announce that probably next week at some point once we finalize the Tuesday we're starting. Thursday next week, we will be back to Swords of the Serpentine as we are going through our little gumshoe system. And we had discovered that there might be some familial secrets. Maybe there's some stuff the Mainwellans don't know about their ancestors. And then next Friday should be a Dragonbane night. And then we're back to Call of Cthulhu. I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and do a raid.
While
was
you're
that?
doing that, I can
Okay.
announce that we got a couple of raids.
Very
We got
nice.
Tales of Myth and Mayhem and
Oh, thank you,
Stone
Mark.
Codex. Thank you.
Awesome. thank you both for the raid. We will pay it forward. We'll do the same thing. Our friends over at the Boys from the Baltic Star are playing some Traveler. So we're going to go ahead and give them a raid. Follow us, follow them, follow the raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
I'll be seeing you.